Our Galapagos adventure began on San Cristobal Island, where sea lions had taken over the beach. Home for the next week, the motor yacht Eric, where we were taken for lunch and introductions before returning to land for a visit to the giant tortoise breeding reserve. Adult giant tortoises roamed freely whilst their young were raised safely in pens, protected from animals introduced by man. Overnight, we sailed north to Genovesa Island, arriving at first light in Darwin Bay. Red-footed and Nazca boobies, red-billed tropicbirds and storm petrels were returning from their breeding grounds, whilst frigatebirds attempted to hijack them for the food they were carrying back. Our first wet landing soon followed. The birds showed no fear, often nesting right next to the path. Swallow-tailed and lava gulls and Nazca boobies nested on the ground amongst magnificent and great frigatebirds. The male frigatebirds, with their inflated red throats, cawed and displayed to attract females as they flew over.
Very big.
The red-footed boobies nested in bushes. Before returning to the boat, we snorkeled around the rocky bay, where we saw white-tipped reef sharks and numerous fish. After lunch, we had time to relax before exploring the cliffs by kayak. Later, we climbed Prince Philip Steps, where we saw juvenile red-footed boobies waiting to be fed, and storm petrels, which were being preyed on by short-eared owls. Next morning, we were anchored off the northern side of Santa Cruz Island. 5 2-meter Galapagos sharks were swimming around the stern, while storm petrels danced on the water, feeding on insects. From here, we explored Black Turtle Cove in the pangas, or rigid inflatable boats. Blue-footed boobies were resting on the rocks at the entrance to the cove. Near the mangroves, we saw large shoals of golden cow-nose rays and some Galapagos green turtles.
See, in some other states, we have one that is called the Galapagos bullhead. It takes longer to.
Returning through the mangroves, we saw a rare black-crowned night heron. Frigatebirds took advantage of the uplift from the boat as we sailed to Dragon Hill, a little further west on Santa Cruz Island. Along the shore, we encountered our first marine iguanas. Unique to the Galapagos, these are the only iguanas to take to feeding in the sea. Walking up Dragon Hill, we also came across some colourful land iguanas. Next morning, we arrived at Fernandina Island, where numerous Galapagos shearwaters were still feeding. Once ashore, we encountered large numbers of marine iguanas soaking up the sun to warm their bodies, whilst ejecting excess salt through their nostrils.
spend a long time in Genovesa because I'm going to give you this you will have to buy. Make sure you are not exercising.
Sea lions lazed on the beaches, while Sally Lightfoot crabs scurried around on the rocks. A Galapagos racer snake was spotted searching the rocks for lizards. Unique to the Galapagos, flightless cormorants have evolved to lose their ability to fly. On Fernandina, cactuses have adapted to grow directly onto the lava rocks. Galapagos hawk, the only hawk to be found in the Galapagos, are frequently seen on Fernandina Island. Late morning, we snorkeled close to Fernandina shore, where we saw many Galapagos green turtles. Having warmed their bodies, marine iguanas soon joined the turtles, feeding on algae on the seabed. After an exhilarating morning around Fernandina, we made a short crossing to Urbina Bay on Isabella Island, where we saw a small hammerhead shark whilst relaxing on the sun deck. At Urbina Bay, we went for a hike and saw a number of finch species distinguished by their bills, and some giant tortoises and land iguanas. That evening, we enjoyed a meal and a few drinks under the setting sun whilst the crew entertained us. Overnight, we moved to Elizabeth Bay, where we took to the Pancas again to explore more mangroves. A striated heron was spotted, along with many turtles and spotted eagle rays. Back out in the bay, we found some Galapagos penguins and some playful sea lions.
Trying to join the party.
Later, we sailed north to Targus Cove and were joined en route by some bottlenose dolphins riding the bow wave. Targus Cove was a nice calm bay where we enjoyed paddleboarding and kayaking, followed by another snorkel session. During the late afternoon panga ride, we came across some pelicans, penguins and blue-footed boobies engaged in a feeding frenzy close to the rocks. Next morning, we enjoyed a stroll along the shore at Tortoises on Santiago Island, followed by a snorkel around the rocks. In the afternoon, we visited the dark red beach of Rabida Island. Next day, we travelled to the highlands on Santa Cruz Island, where we visited the tortoise reserve at Las Primicias. The afternoon was then spent visiting the Charles Darwin Research Station and relaxing in Porto Ayora.